Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind address the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine.
I was in the news headlines because I experimentally discovered that the impossible to compute is in fact possible to compute. A scientist becomes famous when he or she creates new knowledge or makes a discovery or an invention that creates new wealth and that makes the world a better place. For me, Philip Emeagwali, I defined solving the toughest problems arising at the frontier of engineering knowledge as the science and technology of using my knowledge of extreme scale algebra, abstract calculus, computational physics, and the massively parallel processing supercomputer, and using that knowledge in a never before seen way, and using that knowledge to solve extreme scale initial boundary value mathematical problems, and using that knowledge that helps build better bridges across my ancestral hometown of Onitsha, Nigeria, or to help design faster airplanes, safer ships, safer nuclear power plants, and even more fuel-efficient cars. The now ubiquitous technology of the massively parallel processing supercomputer that was scorned and rejected in the 1940s through 80s is used by practicing engineers and used to increase their productivity and used to reduce their time to market. A teacher asked her students, "What is Philip Emeagwali famous for?" I answered, "The riddle of parallel processing was experimentally solved by Philip Emeagwali in Los Alamos, New Mexico, United States, and experimentally solved at 8:15 in the morning of Tuesday, the 4th of July, 1989. That was the U.S. Independence Day. That invention was my rock-solid proof and not a hunch that parallel processing makes computers faster. Doing many things at once, or supercomputing in parallel, became a surefire way to increase the speed of all modern supercomputers. My invention of the parallel processing supercomputer was my first major breakthrough in the world of science and technology. That invention was the milestone that put the name Philip Emeagwali into school reports. I experimentally discovered all the parallel processed speedup there was to discover. It's often said that the invention of the massively parallel processing supercomputer is the single most transformative technology and the biggest advance in physics since Newton Galileo. To invent a new computer or a never-before-seen internet demands genius, not luck or serendipity. I had no serendipitous invention of how to massively parallel process and how to compute across a new internet that is a new global network of millions upon millions of tightly coupled processors that are equal distances apart from each other. I visualized my small copy of the internet correctly. I visualized that never before seen internet a priori. My theoretical visualization enabled me to experimentally discover that the shape of the cube in the 16th dimensional hyperspace will give my new internet regular form and freedom. Each processor within my small copy of my new internet communicated via emails and along 16 mutually orthogonal directions and along as many dimensions of my imagined 16-dimensional universe. I visualized those 16 directions as mutually perpendicular and embedded within my imaginary 16-dimensional universe. Each processor within my small copy of the internet communicates in 16 directions and communicated by sending and receiving emails to and from its 16 nearest neighboring processors. My epiphany was my discovery that to execute the fastest computation, the deepest source of the massively parallel processing supercomputers' computing power was not in its 2 raised to power 16 or 64 binary thousand tightly coupled processors that actually computed. I theoretically and experimentally discovered that the deepest source of the power of the massively parallel processing supercomputer was in its 16 times 2 raised to power 16 or 1 binary million short regular email wires that did not compute. It took me 16 years of massively parallel processing and supercomputing across a new global network of processors to fully understand that my new frontier of supercomputer knowledge was a new internet de facto, not a new computer per se.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.